Cursor, within a couple of years, grew to the fame of almost a $50 billion company, and all of a sudden, they are getting acquired? What gives? And why is SpaceX going to acquire Cursor AI? What is going on? It's worth discussing, so this video is all about that. Hey, I am Ahmad Awais, founder of Command Code, a coding agent with taste. When you work with Command Code, it learns how you edit or accept or reject the AI suggestions, and it builds and auto generates project level skills that can be super helpful if you're using open source models. So what is going on? Looking from the news from last week, Cursor is partnering up with SpaceX on model training. Cursor partners up with SpaceX to accelerate our model training efforts. We released Composer, which is their model, which is a fine-tune RL fine-tune on top of Kimi models, less than 6 months ago as our first agentic coding model. After that, Composer 1.5 scaled reinforcement learning by over 20 times. Composer 2 then added continued pre-training, reaching frontier level performance at a fraction of the cost of other models. Each step up in compute has translated to meaningfully more capable models. We have wanted to push our training efforts much further, but we are being bottlenecked by compute. With this partnership, our team will leverage XAI's Colossus infrastructure to dramatically scale up the intelligence of our model. And if you're not aware of what this is, I think they are about to connect 1,000 GPUs together. It is probably the world's largest, most powerful AI training supercomputer right now in Tennessee by XAI, SpaceX, Elon Musk, whatever you want to call it. I think it has 200,000 GPUs right now. It was built in 122 days, but I think they are about to number of GPUs right now is 200,000. But I think I'm hearing that they are experimenting and they're growing at a pace where by the end of this year they will probably have more than 1 million GPUs connected here, which is going to be massive, as you can imagine. And they have massive bandwidth, as you can see here, right? So what is going on? Why is Cursor doing this? And what does this actually mean for the developer community? And if you read the announcement from SpaceX and Cursor are now working closely. What does that mean? I think we need to unpack what this looks like. Together to create world's best coding agent and knowledge work AI. The combination of Cursor's leading product in distribution to expert software engineers with SpaceX million H100 equivalent Colossus training supercomputer will allow us to build the world's most useful models. Oh man, if this happens, XAI is going to come out with some really good models. You bet they are going to have a comeback, especially on a day like today. I'm really excited to be talking about it when Elon and Sam Altman are right now in the court, around here in Oakland court, right, fighting over the OpenAI case. Cursor has also given SpaceX the right to acquire Cursor later this year. So if Cursor is not able to figure out their way out of the bottleneck of compute they are stuck in right now, at the end of the year, SpaceX has an option to acquire it for 60 billion or pay 10 billion for the work together. This is what I want to unpack, right? Obviously, there are a bunch of comments on Reddit and everywhere else from the community. What does this actually mean for you as a developer? So what's happening? So Cursor started selling Claude. This is my understanding of it. Claude was only being sold in the US. Claude was initially, when everybody was a big fan of ChatGPT and GPT models, nobody knew that Claude models were so good at coding. So at that time, Claude was pretty closed, and it was only being sold in the US. Right? I think that Cursor figured out a way early on to not only fork VS Code but also sell Claude on a much cheaper subsidized pricing to the entire world. So I remember early on seeing comments like this where developers were saying something along the lines of, well, Copilot is not good, and they would download Cursor and they would be like, oh my god, right, this is amazing, right? And I at that time I was running Langbase and I've had a good deal of experience with all the models, and I couldn't figure out, like, what about Cursor is so good that everybody keeps talking about it. Yeah, this is how you're supposed to use AI, right? It just turns out that Cursor, a lot of people just didn't know that the Claude model existed before Cursor. And credit where credit's due, I think Cursor basically made it known that Claude, Anthropic, is really good. And Anthropic was still figuring out its shit, right? So during this, Cursor ended up raising a lot of money. I remember talking to a couple of Cursor employees early on when they were just a young company. I think they had raised 8 million from Sam Altman's OpenAI fund. And then all of a sudden they ended up raising 100 million. and they were subsidizing their $20 per month plan to have, I think, more than $500 per month of usage. So they were throwing a lot of VC money at it, right? In fact, if I were to check now, Anysphere is the name of the company. So Anysphere, Crunchbase, I think they've raised like more than 2 or 3 billion now. There you go. They've raised 3.4 billion so far. This is not their valuation. This is the hard cash. Like, this is the amount of money they have raised in all these rounds. As you can see, their last round was last year in November, 2.3 billion, and I heard they were raising at 50 billion valuation nowadays, which is why, shocking news of 60 billion valuation. They can, XAI, SpaceX can acquire Cursor for 60 billion, in the ballpark, or give them the 10 billion they were looking to raise, probably. So not only are they running out of money, it seems, they are also getting bottlenecked by the amount of GPUs, that are available in the world, that, they are able to acquire in competition with all these big labs. So yeah, I don't think this subsidization is gonna go on for quite long. This is going to come crashing down very, very quickly. We will see that Claude in GPT models, the subscriptions they are selling, where they're hooking, they're making developers quite addictive to their models. With, I've seen the multiples of 27x thrown around. That, if you're using Opus for 4.7 with 1 million context, you're basically getting like 27x subsidy in some cases. So imagine what is going to happen if this subsidy stops, and it is gonna stop. Like, they're gonna make money on top of this. Right now they're just capturing the market, right? And Cursor is a very big example of exactly that happening, right? Cursor, a company that has like $2 billion in revenue, has all of a sudden, instead of going from 30 billion valuation to 50 billion valuation and becoming a public company, a company that is profitable, I feel like it is coming crashing down, and it's like not able to figure their way around the bottlenecks of today. After subsidizing their subscription so much, they want to raise a lot more money, but just raising a lot more money is not enough anymore. They need a lot of GPUs, and if they don't get the GPUs, well, they are basically fucked, right? So who has the GPUs? Well, all the big labs have the GPUs. Anthropic and OpenAI have the GPUs, or SpaceX has a lot of GPUs, right? So this is the most natural play, they are saying. This is unbelievable that a company that grows so big, that has grown so big, is now struggling to survive, as per my opinion, right? This is, as an outsider, this is what it looks like, So what do you think will happen at the end of this year? Will Cursor be able to survive the test of the time? Will they be able to invent a new model, which they have not so far been able to do? I think Kimi is the base model they're using through Fireworks. Will they be able to magically come up with more compute to solve their problems? I doubt that. It does look like that SpaceX is going to have their day, and they are going to be able to acquire Cursor. It sounds like a pretty done deal to me, right? And even if they are not, Cursor is gonna get away with $10 billion from SpaceX. Why is that happening, by the way? Why is Cursor getting so much money? What do they really have to offer? I think Cursor is training on your data. I think this is what's happening. If Cursor is training on your data, I know they offer ZDR, zero data retention to enterprise, and they offer all sorts of controls like bring your own key or whatnot. But a lot of people on their subsidized tiers, and when you are not paying for it, you are the product. Maybe you are the product. Otherwise, what good Cursor would do to SpaceX? SpaceX is actually looking for this. We are going to be working closely together to create the world's best coding model. You can only do that if you have a lot of good data on coding problems being solved and good sentiment analysis, and then you can do RL on, like, this is the session that the developer had, and well, they figured out, they said something which kind of indicates that this thing solved their problem, right? And they also hint this towards here, probably this is going to be training on their data or not, right? This is going to happen only if Cursor is able to bring data on the table, right? Cursor, maybe through their partnerships, maybe through their lower tier subscription plans or whatnot, is going to feed a lot of data to SpaceX GPUs, right? And roughly this is probably what it is going to look like. So Cursor brings a lot of data from Cursor, and they train it on SpaceX GPUs. and out we get maybe Claude or GPT level models. But XAI already has Grok. So maybe what we get is a new, much better Grok model, right? Maybe that is where this is headed, right? So Composer becomes Grok, and Grok becomes the default model in Cursor. And if that happens, are we still calling it Cursor? Probably not. I'm hearing that they might start calling it Xcode. Or somebody was saying on Twitter, maybe they will just call it Code X. You see where this is headed, right? First of all, Elon says OpenAI took my $1 billion. Sam Altman said this is a nonprofit company, files a case on him, and a lawsuit that they are fighting right now as we record this video. And then OpenAI has a coding agent called CodeX. And by the end of this year, SpaceX acquires Cursor and then renames it as CodeX because Elon's entire brand is X, right? The everything app, right? Oh my God, that would be so funny, right? So I think that is going to be something to live through, right? I am pretty excited to see how this turns out. As a player in this particular race, I am building command code, right? And we are figuring out that on average, every developer who's using the commercial models like GPT 5.5 or Opus 4.7 is spending anywhere from $5 to $8 in one session that actually performs well. $5 to $8 per session is a lot of money, as if you ask me, right? And in command code, we have started to figure out how to use open models to do exactly that, because open models are really cheap and can be we can have a very fast inference. We can slash that price by at least 20 to 25 times. Like the numbers we are seeing internally is you're spending less than, I think, $0.5 on average across thousands of sessions. So yesterday I am probably able to pull that up. I don't have his permission, but I think he wouldn't mind. One of our lead investor is PWE, Preston Werner Ventures, by Tom Preston Werner, founder of GitHub. And his awesome GPs, David Price and David Thyssen, are super helpful. David Thyssen, DT, has been experimenting a lot with command code. And yesterday, he ended up building a full stack app with command code, and he shared a lot of interesting data with me. Give me just 1 minute so I can, scour through our Slack and find that somewhere. This is so real. So Didi sent me this message that I was able to build a Redwood SDK app, deploy it on Cloudflare for the Agent Krebs media program that they are doing. He ended up only spending like $2 to build all of this on the cheapest DeepSeek V4 Flash model, I think. All of this code was done by command code. The app has email, React email. I don't know what queue is. Oh, queues, maybe queues. Okay. The infrastructure queues, Slack notifications, GitHub OAuth verification, Magic Link email, R2, KV storage. All of that he built completely with command code and a cheap open source model in just $2, right? Let that sink in. And this is the repository, by the way. Let me open that up. If you want to play around with what this thing is, a curated PWE community for founders, developers, hackers, building tools and workflows for agentic software deployment. Oh my God, this is crazy, right? So just to finish up, as a player in this space, as somebody who's trying to build the best developer experience for coding agents, I think this is going to be a lot of fun to watch how Cursor and SpaceX kind of get merged. I think that is where they are headed one way or the other, because they've ran out of options to spend more money or to raise more money and buy more compute. So yeah, interesting times are coming ahead. I think all the big players, all the frontier coding labs are also going to start, they're going to stop subsidizing their models very quickly. We've already starting to see this with GPT 5.5 being, I think, twice as more expensive than GPT 5.4, and Claude Mythos, not even launching, and I think it is like 10 times more expensive than anything else that Claude does. 125 million per million output, right? So yeah, interesting thing is super interesting things are going to happen, right? And Boltz is saying maybe they will call it Groker or Codex. Oh my God, that's funny. So what are your comments on this? What do you think will happen? Sayab is asking, could this shift Cursor's roadmap away from developer first features towards optimizing XAI model usage and monetization? I don't see why not, right? so far, as much as I know of Elon Musk, he has and what he has done with X. We are paying thousands of dollars on costs just to make sure that our accounts work, and we are paying thousands of dollars on X API, which basically it is now probably pay as you go, but it was not like this. You had to pay like I think $5,000 to get started, and they monetize every single possible thing that can be monetized. And right now, literally right now, I ran a $200 free ad on X, and they ended up charging my card, and the entire thing is so broken. I paid $200 for that. Um, I have an invoice from them, but my balance is still stuck at $207, which was supposed to be a coupon. Yeah, and the support is giving me the runaround or whatnot. In case you don't know, how many employees are at X R&D team or whatnot? I think they are like just 30 people now. There you go. They had like 1,500 employees before the acquisition, and now they are just probably 30 people, right? Yeah, there you go. Their head of product is confirming make it a engineers, two designers, or blah blah blah. They are probably hiring. Yeah, there you go. Team size: Meta, Google, Microsoft. X is just 30, right? So I don't think anything is off the table here. If Cursor gets acquired by SpaceX, all sorts of fun things can happen. If you have more ideas, more comments, I would love to, I would love for you to share. For me, that's it. Use your code for good. Peace.